Welcome back to Just Giants with Grump and the Cranky Fan, your favorite Giants podcast. I am your host, the Football Grump. With me, as always, is Mike, the Cranky Fan, and we're back for another Pens and Pencils 2025 season preview. Cranky Fan, how you doing?
You know, Grump, I am starting to get the football itch finally. You know, now that basketball and hockey are over, we're in the dog days of baseball. I'm starting to get that itch of, oh, I wish this Saturday I was in Gainesville, and I wish this Sunday I was on the way to the Meadowlands to the tailgate. This is the first week I feel like it's no longer an uphill climb. Now it's kind of we're getting closer. I think I saw something that said we are 90 days away from opening kickoff, so it's getting close.
I have a serious question for you.
Certainly.
I guess it's two questions. Number one is, would you rather be watching? Who's your favorite matchup for the Giants to watch? Let me start there.
In this season schedule?
No. Just in general, if you could make any, if you had like a last meal of a football game, what team? Without going into history, just current rosters, whatever. Pick a team. Who do you like watching?
I would love to have an NFC Championship game of the Giants and Eagles. That would be my.
Okay.
I love rivalry. I love playing against teams I hate. And also teams I hate are usually the ones I know the most when I'm opposing. So that would be my kind of, that'd be my castaway movie game to watch.
And your Florida, would that be Georgia, LSU, or Bama?
Oh, beating the shit out of Florida State.
Oh,
Absolutely.
True. Okay, yeah. Okay, so yeah. Florida State. So then my question to you, since you said you would rather be this weekend heading towards Gainesville on Saturday and MetLife Stadium on Sunday, since it's like 105 degrees here, would you rather be watching Giants-Eagles in 105-degree weather at MetLife or in 0-degree weather at MetLife?
I personally don't mind the heat as much as I do the cold. I say this to you every single year when we're at that first game. It's like when we're sweating our asses off, it's like, we're going to be here in 3 months. We're going to be freezing our balls off. And I hate that. So I don't mind the heat. Games in Florida, when you start in August and early September, when those noon games, it's 95 degrees, 95% humidity. And, you've been at the tailgate for 8 hours. And, it's not easy, but it just beats freezing. It just beats, like, you can't stand in the same spot for a second, and you have to, keep, jiggling your toes and doing anything and having your 7th hot chocolate just to, that's unbearable. So I don't mind the heat for games.
Wow, an 8-hour tailgate for a noon game. That's impressive.
Well, hold on. For a noon game, wait a minute. We usually start we start around 7:30. So if anybody out there wants to experience the tailgates, follow me at the Cranky Fan. I'll give you instructions how to get to Gainesville and see at 7:30 in the morning on Saturday. But we actually don't have any noon games this year for the Florida schedule. They're all 3:30 or night games this year. So,
and I guess could you even possibly watch Florida State in late June in Gainesville, or would you just die of exhaustion?
I deal with it. I mean, the last couple of years, our first game has been at noon on Labor Day weekend, and that's usually tough. The worst. Oh, it's brutal. It is super hot. It's just and where our seats are, the sun is right in our face at noon. It comes from the south, heading towards the west, and it's a scorcher.
Oh, I know. But I got a sunburn there in October.
Yeah. But if you're kicking Florida State's ass, I don't care what the temperature. It could be 1,000. Have the game on Mercury for all I care. It doesn't matter.
If I remember correctly, I remember Trevor turning to me and saying, "I feel like his forehead right now." Now I'm with you. I could do the heat before the cold any day of the week. I mean, like, we're really stretching it with the humidity of Gainesville in June. But yeah, I agree with you. I'd rather, because, I mean, first of all, I can keep drinking beer. and I'm just gonna sweat it out. I don't even have to go to the bathroom at that point if it's really hot. In the cold, I mean, like, I just can't wait. I don't know about you. When that game's over, even if we win, I can't wait to get the fuck home. I just
Agreed.
can't wait. When it's warm, I'll stay at the train station. I'll feel like going out for dinner. Like, yeah, it's the warm for me over the cold. Anyway, sorry.
No, this is what we talk about when it's mid-June and there's nothing. We have nothing on the news blotter right now. We talk about our favorite atmospheric conditions.
Yeah, the Grump's Almanac. Um, and if you can hear my air conditioner going in the background, that is an indicator that it is really hot because I do my best not to run that thing
Well,
in two rooms at once, but I am right
well,
now.
well, a brilliant move by you is that you will be moving somewhere where you'll have this heat and humidity for a much more extended period of time than right now. I mean, we just have this is a heat wave. Um, Grump, when you move, you'll be living in the South, and you're going to be feeling it from now until probably October. So get used to it.
Yeah, the upside being everywhere has central air and ceiling fans down there
Well,
does make it a lot better and quieter.
that's what I tell Cranky wife all the time about living in Florida. It's like you're always in the air conditioning. You're in it in the car. You're in it in the mall. You're in it, in your house. You're in it in the office. You're always in air conditioning. You're outside for 5 minutes of your day.
Yeah. Um. So
And she still says, "Forget it. I'm never living there."
yeah, well, I mean, I was gonna say there's a whole thing with women and hair and humidity and in and out of the air conditioning, and
Well, that
but
won't be a problem
I
for
don't
you,
care.
buddy.
Yeah, exactly. That knowledge is slowly seeping out of my head and gone forever because it doesn't matter. Um, so, in Giants related news, this past week, one of our least favorite commentators, Mark Schlereth, had made the argument that you should, as the Giants organization, start Jaxson Dart day one. You know, you live with the growing pains, but you grow with them. You know, whatever. Basically, trial by fire. I guess. You know, I don't know if that sounds harsher than he really means, but essentially that. Like you grow
It's
with
accurate.
each other, right? And I think that that's ludicrous. You probably think that that's ludicrous. I think that we've stated multiple times on this show since before he was even drafted, when this was just a theory, that is not really the reason that you just don't do that. Especially, I think with this regime sort of in the spot that they're in.
Well, I was just going to have a counter question to you that the only way that would make sense is at this coaching staff, this general manager hasn't burned all of its capital in goodwill, and it's like, okay, we've made the decision, we've evaluated during this offseason and training camp that Jaxson Dart is ready to go. We are going to do that. I don't. Then you may actually have a little bit of a let me think about it for a moment or two. But right now, where wins are at a premium and there is a hot seat all over the place at 1925 Giants Way, I can't see how you can even, for the bigger picture and for everybody's just kind of keeping their jobs, I can't see even being near a thought for that.
I do think it raises an interesting question, though, and that is, when do you start Jaxson Dart? And like sparing each other like the answers of when he's ready, or you know what I mean, like
Mm-hmm.
obviously, right? Like you're not going to intentionally throw him in a game that you don't think he's ready, unless of course you think your job's going down or whatever. Let's just talk about it. I want to know
Sure.
what your thoughts are. Like, do you have hardline thoughts? Are they more nuanced? I'm just curious.
Jaxson Dart to me is not a super project. I mean, people I know he may not be ready to start on day one, but he is not Anthony Richardson. He is not a guy that, you know, hasn't had that much experience in college, needs to kind of start from scratch basically to be prepared. So I my thing is I think this year they still have to think about winning games and they still have to give it an honest effort to try to make the playoffs. And I think the best chance to do that is obviously with Russell Wilson. However, in my opinion, as soon as there is no more possibility for the playoffs, I think you make the switch. Now, if it's week 3 and Russell Wilson is out for 2 to 3 weeks with an injury or something, I say you go with Jameis. But when it's, and also if it's weeks 2 to 3, you still want Jaxson Dart to still get into more of the routine and get prepared as you're going. But to me, as soon as there's no hope for this season, that's when I make the switch.
Okay. So here's the thing. I think that, first of all, I don't think there's anything wrong with that answer. I agree with that. I think you set up the right construct where you don't feel like you need to do anything with Jaxson Dart this year at all, right? Like you built it that way. And I think that it was smart, right? Like it's sort of like accounting for as many variables as you can think of, right? You have a guy who's a bona fide starter in the league. He's been around multiple systems. He's a proven leader. He's just on the wrong side of 30, I guess, on the wrong side of like 33 or 4. I don't know how old. How old is Russell Wilson?
34, 35. But he's also on the wrong side of his, ability too.
Yeah,
he's not the quarterback he was 6 years ago.
That's what I mean. He's just aged, and
that's fine.
Yeah, that's it.
That's why we got him.
Exactly. That's why he was available. So you have that guy. He can win games for you. He's not going to very often light up the scoreboard. You might have a rare game here or there, but then you have a guy like Jameis Winston, who's probably the 30th to 35th best quarterback in the league, which makes him the best possible backup quarterback in terms of ability. I think that's probably true.
I'll go with that. I think that's accurate.
Right? There's legitimate reasons why he's not a starter, but there's also legitimate reasons why every year when he plays, people want him to keep playing.
Yeah. He's Ryan Fitzpatrick. He's someone who gives you a jolt off the bench.
Yeah. And so you have the perfect situation for a starter and backup, and also for what it's worth, Jameis Winston regarded as a leader as well. And now you have Jaxson Dart, a young guy who needs guidance both on the football field, off the football field, and in the film room, and in the weight room, and in the locker room. And these are the right guys to do it. You've done all this. I don't think that you've built yourself where you have to wait, where it's just like, if Jaxson Dart is ready, then I don't think that you just continue sitting him unless you are on a legitimate playoff hunt. I think, you know what I mean? Like, if you are in the wild card race and Russell Wilson is not the reason that you are, I mean, it's a tough schedule. Let's be straight up honest. The fact that you're not, running away with the division is not an indictment of Russell Wilson.
No.
I don't think that you really play him. And again, I think that you can make the judgment call there where if what you're seeing in practice is like, whoa, he's really good. Let's not forget how Russell Wilson got his job to begin with. Same kind of situation.
Let's kind of go back and take this at a higher level. Like for me and you as fans, not for what ownership or the coaching staff or the players want. For me and you, would you rather this team make the wild card or this team have Jaxson Dart getting ready for next year and the year on?
Well, assuming that they make the wild card with Russell Wilson?
Yes.
I'd rather them make the wild card.
Me too. Okay, good. So we're both in agreement with that because I think there's some people that are just like, I just want to get Jaxson Dart in regardless. We drafted him. I'm ready for the future right now, blah, 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 blah. Where to me, this is still about, we play games to win. We play seasons to win championships.
Of course, yeah. But I mean, I'm not under the delusion that winning, getting into the wild card with Russell Wilson is like, I'm not going to hold out hope that they're entering the Super Bowl or anything like that, or hold on to the idea of Russell Wilson beyond this year because of that. Like, I acknowledge that Jaxson Dart is the future. He is the thing I should be looking forward to the most, but that doesn't mean that I'm going to stop looking at wins just to look forward to something. I can continue looking forward to Jaxson Dart next year if need be.
Right, and that's where I was going with that. It's like I'd rather, in a perfect universe, we don't play Jaxson Dart this year. In a perfect universe, we get to 8 wins or 9 wins and we sneak into the playoffs. I don't care about winning the Super Bowl this year, but I want to see progression. I want the heat turned down because, again, I still think that Brian Dable can be a good coach in this league. He has shown hints that he can be. And I think that, having a better roster with a better quarterback and all the things we've talked about 1,000 times kind of fits that. So to me, I think a lot of people are like, well, the sooner I get Jaxson Dart in, the better I get to see him and we start this up. But to me, it's like this season is more a success and I'm more happy about it if I never see him at all this year and Russell Wilson, gets us into the playoffs.
I think in a perfect universe, Jaxson Dart plays a meaningless game at the end of the season because they've locked up a wild card spot.
Sure.
I mean, locking in a wild card spot is not ever going to mean that you're not a good team, but it could mean that a lot of things went the right way for you. So when I say stuff like that, I mean, that could just be like an 8-win team. I don't know.
That's true, but that is true. But considering where this team has been the last couple of years,
it's just not happening.
To be sniffing around it in this year, okay, maybe we catch a break and somebody breaks their leg and we get ahead of them in the wild card thing or something. But the thing is, we have to be enough things have to go right to be sniffing the wild card. The break may get us in or not, and I want to be at least in that conversation. I want to be in that conversation is where I want to be.
Yeah. I bring this up because so basically my point of view is that they've set them up. They set themselves up for the perfect scenario. They can play Jaxson Dart whenever they want. Basically, correct. If he is ready right away, they can play him. They have perfect leaders in the situation. That's not going to happen, and I don't think that they want to do that, right? Like, I mean, I do think that, come week 10, if the situation is falling the right way, Dart is looking ready, Russell Wilson maybe is looking shaky, maybe they've already fallen so far behind, maybe Jaxson Dart is looking outstanding in practice, maybe you just feel like there's just a number of things, you know what I mean? I think
it's time. They just made an organizational decision that it's time.
I mean, I don't know what that means, though. What does that mean? Because that, to me, sounds like panic when you say shit like that.
No, I think panic to me is there's a 2% chance you're making the wild card, and we're going to play Russell Wilson still when the odds are that we're going to make it.
Well, yes, I know. I just mean when people say with no other explanation that it's an organizational decision, usually what that seems to sound like to me is that we panicked and we know that this is the horse that we're riding. You know what I mean?
Oh, see, I look at the opposite. Organizational decision, like if these 4 parameters or 5 parameters are met, it's time. That's what I meant.
So you just mean like a series of triggers.
So, yeah, exactly. Like we're out of the wild card, or Andrew Thomas isn't playing, or whatever reasons they decide that it's time.
That's one of the interesting things about this, about not playing him at all this year. I think a good argument for that, or if it just doesn't happen this year, you know what I mean? That's okay. And I'll tell you why. It's because the team isn't very good. And you know what I mean? Like the Mark Schlereth's argument, at one point in his take was, they do have a good defense there, and it's one of the best things that you can have as a young quarterback is a good defense. And I would sort of agree with that, but I feel like that's just within the context of the best thing a young quarterback can have is a good fucking team. Brock Purdy.
I was going to say the best thing a young quarterback can have is a good offensive line. Forget even a good team. Just let's not get him killed. Let's not do another David Carr situation.
Just time to be comfortable, make his reads, make decisions. Don't let him have 4 interceptions a game because he's getting chased around and wreck the kid's confidence. You know what I mean? So you mentioned if Andrew Thomas goes down, there's a situation where I think maybe you don't play Jaxson Dart because too many people are hurt around him and you're just going to get him killed out there. I think that's a fair argument.
Oh, sure. I think that's one of those parameters too. It's like, what is the state of the team? If Evan Neal is playing right guard because he has to because we have no other option out there. If Andrew Thomas is out again, if if Malik Neighbors is out for whatever reason. He doesn't have his main weapon to go. Is is the juice worth the squeeze in this point? Maybe you're better off just keeping him on with a hat and a clipboard this year, and you start over next year.
Yeah, you let Jameis or Russell deal with that.
Yeah, exactly.
I think that's fair. In any case, I bring this up not just because Mark Schlereth just said it, but also because in our pens and pencils discussion, we are entering Week 13, a Monday night matchup in Gillette Stadium of Massachusetts. That's not... How close to that is that to Boston?
It's like 20 miles, but the problem is there's no interstate there. You have to take US 1, and it's kind of like taking, I don't know. What's that
county road?
Route 10 by where you live.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's
like Route 3, basically.
Yeah, exactly. It's like that. So it's kind of brutal.
The Giants are going to the New England Patriots to play a Week 13 Monday night matchup, and I think that this is a legitimate spot, one of the discussion spots where Jaxson Dart could legitimately be starting. I have the Giants going into this game at 6-6 with wins against Washington, Dallas, New Orleans, Denver, San Francisco, and Chicago, and then losses to Kansas City, the Chargers, 2 losses to the Eagles, the Packers, and the Lions. Do you think that Jaxson Dart plays in this game in your pens and pencils scenario? And B, what is the outcome of this game for you?
I think we are still sniffing playoffs. So, well, let's do 2 different scenarios. In my pens and pencils, we're still sniffing playoffs. So no, he does not play. But in a alternative pens and pencils universe where we're out of it, my answer still would be no. I think they would wait till after the bye week. I know there's some trains of thought out there. If you get him in before the bye week, so you can go out there and you have a week off to kind of reflect on and look at tape what you did that prior week. I think that my hunch would be like they would wait till the bye so they can install stuff for him and have him properly prepared for his first time. I think you want to minimize the potential of that train wreck game first and then review. Just say, okay, we're going to get you more prepared and ready to go. This game itself, do you have any things that New England might be one of those surprise teams this year that's better than we think they're going to be?
I think that they might have an explosive offense this year. There's a lot of talent at the skill positions for them. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think they may be the one where don't sleep on them. And I think this is a game where maybe the Giant fan base is kind of sleeping on them a little bit. I know the team isn't, but I think I'm gonna have this as a loss in pencil. I think this feels like a little bit of a wonky one to me. So I'm gonna have that. This is a loss in pencil. And then I think after this, I think we really, the talk on the fan, the talk even like on our show will be the next day, okay, I think it's time for Jaxson Dart.
Which would be, Week 14 is the bye week for the Giants, so then you have a whole week to get them ready, which I think is pretty likely.
For two home games after that too.
Yes. 2? Mm-hmm. Yes. I do think that New England is going to have some kind of offense this year, for real. I think that second-year Drake May, we can expect more polish from him. Getting Stephon Diggs. I really liked Kyle Williams, draft pick that they got at wide receiver as well. They still have Kayshon Boutte. They picked up Mac Hollins, although, I don't think that Mac Hollins from Buffalo is the same Mac Hollins here. Just because I think Josh Allen elevates people. And I think, they got Will Campbell at left tackle. They've got Morgan Moses at right tackle. I think that this is a team that's getting built properly, and it looks like a strong situation for Drake May to be in. I think that they're going to be a better team this year than I think people realize, probably, the average person thinks. But I still think that this defense stinks. And for that reason, I look at both of these teams, and I don't have Jaxson Dart in my pens and pencils scenario playing this game, but I really could see this being a game. Like, I think I feel the strongest about Week 13 being the Jaxson Dart game, if there is one this year, just in my gut. And it would be kind of cool to see like Drake May versus Jaxson Dart kind of situation. Even though I hate when people do quarterbacks versus quarterbacks because it's not how football works.
So silly.
But in terms of like two young guys with, new offenses moving up to this level, and two premier teams too. Like there's just something special about this matchup. Two premier teams that both are very bad of late. Coming out of their prime of losing Bill Belichick and losing Tom Brady, and then much more distant, losing Tom Coughlin, losing Eli Manning. Moving on to that, is this their resurgence? Two teams, you know what I mean? They're sort of at the same platform, and now they're going to battle each other. And I think that the Giants do have a head start of like 25 million years of rebuilding post Eli Manning. Their defense is just in a much better spot, and that's going to make it a lot harder for a guy like Drake May, even if he is in his second year, than Jaxson Dart going against New England's defense just doesn't scare me. It really does. If you look at it, it looks like, and there's nothing wrong with this, but it looks like they're just super focusing on the offensive side of the ball while building their team, which is something that I advocate for. Do that first. Make sure that that's
Score
right.
Points.
You know what I mean? Because I can't stand the situation the Giants are in where they're trying to do it the quote unquote like balanced way or right way or whatever, like building offense, building defense, getting best player available, whatever, right? But then you get in the situation of what if you're wrong, right? Being wrong on Evan Neal is such a huge whiff because you aren't just overloading on the offense. You don't have a fucking backup plan. Now, for all the hate that we can give Dave Gettleman, he selected Andrew Thomas and Matt Parrott in the same year. Now, obviously, Matt Parrott didn't pan out, but it was a third-round pick. It was at least a backup plan somewhere along the line. Matt Parrott could have been something. It was two investments in the exact same position, tackle, in the same year. You know what I mean? I just think that kind of building, the NFL has just changed the rules. The offense is the most important thing. Scoring points is the most important thing. If you can score points, free agents want to come there. You don't have to be the highest bidder all the time. You can build your defense really fast, in my opinion. Anyway, I think that this is a win. In Penn, I don't know. Okay. I went way off on a tangent there. I think that this is a win. I don't think that Jaxson Dart plays this game in my pens and pencils scenario. But the New England defense just looks like it stinks to me. I think that Drake May has a much harder time than Russell Wilson does, and the Giants and Brian Dable's offense are able to chew that shitty defense apart. But I do think it's close. Even though I think it's a win in Penn, I don't think that they run away with this game like they're hot garbage or anything like that. Having a shitty defense is required for us to win games.
Do you see, to me, the big thing with the Patriots this year is getting Vrabel. I mean, now they have a coach. They kind of that bridge in between Belichick and Vrabel. They didn't have a coach. It was kind of a mess. So now they have, I think, a really good coach. I think there's gonna, it may not make year one as much of an impact, but you might see things cleaned up a little bit. Let me ask you though something. We don't think that Jaxson Dart's going to start this game, but are we at that point in the season that if Russell Wilson gets hurt or has to miss a drive or two, that maybe at this point we go to Jaxson Dart, or is this still Jameis backup time?
I think that, again, this comes down to the is he ready argument. Well, wait a minute. Miss a drive or two? What do you mean?
Let's say second quarter, Russell Wilson bangs his hand on a helmet or something, and he has to sit for the rest of the half, or he can't play. He has to sit out for a little bit within a game.
Well, so my only thing with that is that would require them to either have Dart as the number 2 on the depth chart or have all 3 quarterbacks active.
I guess that's what I'm asking. Then are we at the point in the season where he is active and he has jumped Jameis? Again, we're doing pencils and pens. This is all
I get it.
prediction.
I get it. I'm kind of laying out the hurdles that are in the way of that. And so I could see a scenario, right? Let's just say that Russell Wilson in week 12 finished the game, or let's say he didn't finish the game. Let's say the last 2 drives were handled by Jameis Winston. He sustained some kind of leg injury or something. Russell Wilson only practiced, 2 days before week 13. So then he gets it re-aggravated in the third quarter. In that scenario, I guess I could see all 3 quarterbacks being active. right? Because you're going into the game with the knowledge that Russell Wilson may not be able to finish it, but he's still your best foot forward or whatever.
Right.
Yeah, I think so. Why not? I mean, especially this game. I think it comes down in your confidence level in your game plan, and of course in Jaxson Dart executing the game plan and all that stuff. And I think at this point, like, you're going into next year, the best case scenario is you have Jaxson Dart, bona fide starter, no doubt in your mind, Jameis Winston as a great veteran leader, perfect backup scenario behind him. You know that. So if he is showing you that he's ready and you're confident in him at that point, then yeah, I wouldn't say necessarily jump the depth chart, but situationally jump the depth chart.
Gotcha. I agree with you.
So I've got us heading into the Week 14 bye at 7-6, more wins than I really think they're going to get. And we go into Week 15. It's December 14th. This is not the family Christmas party, I don't think. Or is it? Yeah, I think it is.
No. It's the week after.
It is the week after. Okay.
Yes.
All right. Minnesota. So then this is the Giants are hosting the Washington Commanders, their Week 1 opponent, at 1 o'clock on Sunday with plenty of rest. I think that the Giants just get outclassed. I think this is a loss in Penn. They exposed some bits of the Washington Commanders in Week 1. They caught them a little bit, resting easy and cruising. Dan Quinn is trying to get his team under control, and this is one of the winnable games on their schedule, looking at the Giants, and he is ready for it. And Dan Quinn historically does well against Brian Daboll despite the Week 1 matchup. I think that this is a loss in Penn, and I think that it's a close game, but it doesn't feel close. I think that they lose by 1 score, but it just never feels like we're in this game.
We're all going to be very excited at the L16 tailgate because this will be the first start of the Jaxson Dart era. I think he will be halfway decent, but I think this is a loss in Penn. I think the switch will be made in Week 14 during that bye week, and he comes out and he starts. Gets a tremendous standing ovation when he runs onto the field for the first time. When we talked about Washington in the Week 1 preview, I said this is a team I really thought had the chance to be the most underperforming based on preseason expectation. So I don't think Washington's any great shakes this year. I think they take a step back, but I still think, like you said, I think they have more talent than we do. Having a first-time rookie quarterback it's a tall task to win games. I think we lose this one in Penn.
Okay, I love that you said this, and you really feel this in your bones, or this is the scenario that you're writing out?
I think I feel this in my bones.
All right, okay. I like that. All right, so then I have questions for you, my friend. Do we see a Jaxson Dart passing touchdown in this game?
Yes, we do.
Do we see it? Okay, good.
We see it in the first quarter. I think we see some sort of like busted coverage or something, and people just go ape shit.
I could totally see that shit.
People are already excited just for the running out onto the field, and maybe it might even be that first drive where something happens where we're like, holy shit, he's wide open, and the ball's in the air. It seems like it's in the air for 35 minutes, and then it's, I don't know.
Well, let me ask you this.
It's not Neighbors, it's somebody else.
I was going to say, is it Slayton or Hyatt?
I'm going to go, oh God, if it's Hyatt. I'll ask you right there to pinch me, right? I wouldn't believe that. This seems like a Darius Slayton kind of, oh my God, there's a busted coverage or somebody fell. Just getting his hands, it does, touchdown. And everybody just is like, the crew at 124 we sit with, 3 of them have heart attacks when that happens. It's kind of like, yeah. But that might be the highlight. That might be the highlight of the game, though, for the passing offense in that game.
Okay, so do we see a rushing touchdown from Jaxson Dart, or a rushing explosive play?
I think we'll see more rushes from him than we normally would. I think it's a little first game kind of, I'm just going to tuck it and run with it type of thing. But I don't think we're going to see anything like, like a Daniel Jones run for 40 yards type of play,
Okay.
or I don't think we're going to see a Meadowlands special or anything. Uh,
Um, so let me ask you this: are we going to see a Jaxson Dart interception or fumble?
I think we'll see a pick,
Okay.
and I think we'll see it late. I think
Okay, so
I
it'll be
think
like one of
I
those
think
things where it's like the game's kind of over. He's just trying to do something, and he gets picked.
I think we would have a package for him, like a game plan of, pretty safe, pretty conservative, get him comfortable, get him in a routine, get him in a rhythm. Don't try to get out of your comfort zone. But when we get in the fourth quarter, maybe we're down 9 with 5 minutes left. He tries to do more than he's prepared to do. And that's where a pick comes. And he does a classic rookie mistake. He doesn't, he locks in on one receiver, and you know, a safety just comes over and has an easy pick.
I could see it. I could see all those things.
Yeah.
That's cool, man. I think I agree with you. I think that first Jaxson Dart, and I do think it is gonna be like one of those things where they just saw it on film. They had it worked out the whole bye week. They were like, this is gonna be wide open first drive. I'm telling you, if they fall for this, do not be afraid. Take the shot, and we're gonna see it. I all of that seems very plausible to me, especially when you combine it with we're definitely going to lose the game, though. Is a very Giants thing.
And he's also a guy, I think, who's going to take shots.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Like
especially
that's
when they're
his,
young too. Like I think this is the most aggressive
his,
we're going to see. Jaxson Dart is going to be probably in his first 4 years.
Probably, yeah. And I think he's a guy who's not afraid. Like there's like Russell Wilson would not be afraid to take those shots. I think he's a little like that as well. So
right.
I think those stars align for something. And boy, we're gonna be jumping up. There's gonna be beer poured on us. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be 35 and rainy, but the beer is gonna feel good on us.
It's gonna be like that scene in Airplane when the plane's going down and then, like the girl just wanders into the scene and her tits are out and they're just like, you know what I'm talking about?
Or it's gonna be the scene in Airplane where like they throw the suitcase goes up in the air and it's super slow, like super slow motion. The guy looks at his watch like, when's this thing coming down? That's what that pass is gonna feel like.
Oh yeah. Oh man! All right, so I mean, I've got us at a solid 7-7. That would put us, going into week 16, 17, 18. That's a team in the hunt at 7-7. You have us, I think, at something like 4-8.
I have 4 losses in a row actually, but yeah. I don't feel horrible. I think that there's gonna be a section of the fan base that's like, that's it, clean house, we suck, 4-8, we're done. But I'm going to walk out of here feeling like, okay, that was the first time I saw Dart. I like what I saw. Let's see what happens the rest of the season. I don't care about the record the rest of the year. I feel comfortable that Dable got him in a position to look halfway decent, because that's going to be very important too, I think. Part of, I think, what Dable's going to be graded on, I think, when he's being evaluated to come back next year, is how ready is Jaxson Dart? If they decide... If there is a plan, again, organizational decision, like I said before, if there is a plan that he's going to play at some point in that final third to quarter of the season, he can't come out and look like he's afraid or not prepared or just, this was a mistake. And if he does, I think that says just as much about, because really the only thing Dable really has to hang on his hat right now, I think, is quarterback development, bringing the next guy along. And if it doesn't, it may not be fair to him, but if it doesn't look good, I think that might be the straw that breaks the camel's back.
I have an interesting question, but I'm not sure I know how to phrase it. So it just popped up while you were talking. So bear with me if I ramble
in the form of a question would be best.
Well, it is a question, right? So okay. It's not Jeopardy.
That was another Airplane reference.
Oh, was it? Fuck. No, so let's say that Jaxson Dart is good. And we get to the Giants are a wild card team with Jaxson Dart for 4 out of 5 years of his rookie contract. Let's say 3 out of 5. Let's say because this year 2025 we'll say they don't make the wild card and he's not really playing, but it is part of his contract. So let's say 3 out of 5. Now you're at contract point, but he hasn't taken the next step. You're not sure if you want to keep him or not. You're in a pickle, right? Because he's going to demand a lot of money and whatever, right?
So he's Justin Herbert.
Yeah, no, maybe. I don't know. Does Justin Herbert really fall in that category? I'd pay Justin Herbert. I mean, he has a different situation because they had a shitty different coach. He's had the whole coach the same time. It's more Brock Purdy, but like better, a little bit better than Brock Purdy, I guess.
Okay, all right, keep going.
Yeah, a little bit more than Brock Purdy. Does that reflect poorly on Dable to you?
No.
Okay.
If they've made the wild card a couple of times and he's kind of a little better than Brock Purdy,
so then you're comfortable with Brian. I'm sorry. You're comfortable then with Brian Dable weighing in on the decision of what to do with Jackson, or let's just say what to do at quarterback at that point. He makes the decision there. He yes, I want to keep Jaxson Dart, or I'm okay moving on from Jaxson Dart. I can develop another quarterback. Like you're cool with that at that point.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of why we brought him in too.
I agree. I mean, it's an interesting question, but I agree that is why we brought him in.
I mean, I certainly, you could say what you want about him, the other aspects of him being a head coach, but the reason we brought him, one of the biggest selling points for him was quarterback, working with Joe Shane to identify a quarterback to bring here, develop that quarterback, and to make him into something. And we have not had that opportunity yet. He inherited a quarterback for whatever reasons, as physically, mentally, with some sort of damaged goods. They were kind of forced to give him a second contract because of circumstance. Russell Wilson is a stopgap. Now they finally have their guy. And now really day one of why we brought Brian Dable in here was on day one of that first time he stepped inside the training facility. So yeah, I have every confidence in him developing the quarterback I did from the day they hired him as coach. Nothing's changed.
Fair enough. I think you also have to throw in that in his first season, he went to the playoffs with Daniel Jones too.
Coach of the year, and Daniel Jones earned the contract based on that year.
Yeah.
There's another universe where he was either hurt or played crappy, where he doesn't get, there is no contract and he's done.
It's true. Interesting questions though.
It's great.
So, guys that are listening still, apologize that we're only going over two games, but I think that we made up for it with some interesting Jaxson Dart talk.
We got to stretch this out until we get to training camp.
Well, so here's the thing. So here's the thing. Next week is the 4th of July holiday, and we will be taking off for that week. We have some other things that we're going to do. We're going to be on the Giants Nation show doing the 4th of July. The 4th of July mailbag.
We're both going to be on it.
Yeah.
Oh boy, that's going to be fun.
So there's that. So be sure to check that out next week on their YouTube channel. And then we'll resume with our final 3 games the week after that. And then we will be, we have to be at that point a week or 2 weeks away from training camp. So hopefully we'll have either, if we don't have headlines to talk about, we will probably find a movie to talk about or food or something.
Believe me, we could do we can get Bobby on here or Justin on here. We can talk about, we could do another movie review. We could do anything. There's a lot to talk. We could fill hours without talking about this football team.
Yeah.
In the last couple of years, that may not be a bad idea. So.
Yeah, really. Whoa.
We could talk about how the Yankees just lost and the Rays picked up another game. So all you Yankee fans out there, take that.
But that's what we have in store for you guys coming up. So be sure to follow us on iTunes, SoundCloud, Spotify, and of course, YouTube. Until next time, go Giants.
Go Giants.